What is going on today, guys, and welcome to another video about SnowRunner. Now, GameSpot recently dropped a gameplay trailer, and I can't wait to tear it down and show you guys everything that I'm not only excited for in it, but the stuff that I think you guys may have either missed or stuff that I think y'all should be excited for in it. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, there is a lot to unpack in this trailer, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and watch it through, and I'm going to commentate it live, and then after that, we're going to go back and break it down in little bits and pieces that I found interesting. Now, they start the trailer off with a flatbed loaded down with, wooden crates, just kind of driving through the wilderness, right? Doesn't look like anything too crazy, apart from the fact that the environment that we're driving through is gorgeous. Then it cuts to this truck driving across ice, and starting to get a little slick and a little all over the place. That also turns it up, and then we see proper mud for the first time. We see our Chevy CK-1500 burrowing itself into the mud, and it's also got a little bit of a metal crate in the back too, like a really small metal crate. And then we see the snow deforming, and also we see a little bit of multiplayer footage from inside one of the vehicles, and it looks like the Hummer had a bit of a moment there. So here we see something really interesting, which is crane gameplay that isn't log related. Now, there wasn't really anything that they showed in the trailer that was like super log related, but also I do want to point out the fact that while they were scrolling through that truck list, there were a couple of trucks there towards the end that said not available in USA, which means some of the trucks that were based off of like, Kamaz and other manufacturers like that may only be available on certain maps. Well, not may, will only be available on certain maps. But that also makes me wonder, are there certain maps that certain American trucks won't be available on? That's something we'll have to figure out and find out about a little bit later on in the future. Now, here with this Hummer, we see it towing like a tiny little trailer, and this, for me, for whatever reason, was one of the most exciting parts of the entire trailer. And also, this mixture of mud and snow and like slush, basically. It looks kind of weird, but also kind of cool at the same time, because I wonder if that'll do anything specific to the terrain. But also back there, we see that Hummer completely freaking buried, absolutely buried, like with zero chance of getting out unless it had a rescue vehicle, pretty much. Now, they did say that throttle control will be more important than ever before, so what they're basically saying here is SnowRunner is going to be 100% anti-Tomcat gear. Not really, but at the end of the day, though, you really are going to have to focus in on your throttle control a lot, and what I'm doing in the gameplay right now of MudRunner, slamming it into high and just getting after it, yeah, I mean, that is what it is, but it's not really going to work that way in SnowRunner, I'm guessing. Now, I will say the game does look so nice. The graphics are so pretty, and that setup right there, the Hummer towing a flatbed trailer, like a bumper pull flatbed trailer with wooden crates on top of it that are actually strapped down, like properly strapped into the trailer, that right there just put it over the top for me. I mean, that was like, oh my god, this is perfect. Like, what else? There's nothing for you to argue with at that point. I mean, you've literally got everything that we've asked for. I mean, that is the kind of thing that people have been trying to create with mods for years, and now we can do it in the base game. Now, does that mean that mods are going to go away? No, absolutely not. Doesn't mean mods are going to go away at all. Mods are going to be back in full force, but also, too, towards the end of the trailer there, we saw the little Chevy 1500 climbing up a hill with a tiny little crate and then a spare wheel and tire in the back. Now, whether or not that is a deliverable load or it's just a sort of repair points type deal, that is something that we'll have to wait and see about in the future and get clarification on. Right, so let's go ahead and break this trailer down piece by piece. So the very first thing I'd like to look at is how the mud seems to be changing from MudRunner to SnowRunner. Now, the mud seems a lot less blocky, it seems a lot less patchy, and it seems like it doesn't do that weird thing where blocks of mud will stick to the tires anymore. And that's a big improvement from before. It also seems as though snow is handled entirely on its own in terms of how it deforms, because those tracks through the snow look as though they've deformed completely differently around the tires than the mud had deformed around the other tires. Now, of course, we'll have to play the game ourselves and see how that actually feels, but it's definitely looking promising. Now, I'd love to give a quick moment to this shot right here, because look at the detail on the interior of this vehicle. They've really, I mean, I know that I keep saying they've turned up the details on the interior, but God, you can see his freaking watch. And that's not something we would have ever seen. You can see, like, the veins in his hand. I mean, that's not even something you would dream of seeing in MudRunner. And then, of course, the dash. The dash on the truck is gorgeous, and not to mention the fact that the Hummer on the left just decided it was time to just, well, yeet itself off the side of a mountain, but never mind that. He'll be fine. Now, you want to talk about shots that got me hyped? This got me hyped. Now, here we can see a crane loading up a flatbed trailer with basically just big pallets. Not even pallets, but it's a bunch of pallets packaged together. And I think one of the main things that I'm drawing from this is that not even the fact that the crane is really cool and the setup of the crane is really cool, but look how long that other setup on that other truck is. I mean, we're talking about a 8x8 that's already very long with a cab that hangs way over the front axle, towing a extremely long trailer. If you have to go around any sort of tight turns, you're going to be in for it, and it's not going to be pretty, but then again, that's what's going to make this game interesting. I do also want to momentarily touch on the fact that the trucks that I touched on earlier, there was one more truck towards the right that was not available in the USA, but the Azov Antarctic, as well as the Azov 5319, are not going to be available in USA region maps. Now, does this translate over to the other maps in different regions, not allowing certain American vehicles? I'm not sure. That's something that I think is very possible. I think the fact that these aren't available here means that those might not be available there, but that's another thing that we'll have to figure out and find out and see. Now, something I really wanted to touch on was winch customization. Now, we haven't really seen this before in any other game in this series, but basically, as you can see on the left right there, it says we have the stock medium, extended medium, advanced medium, and then high power medium. So you get with the advanced medium, you get an extended rope length as well as a improved motor. So really, why you wouldn't upgrade that on any given truck would be entirely beyond me. I'm like, if I'm gonna upgrade anything, it's gonna be that. Like, if I'm playing the game objectively, you better believe the winch is getting upgraded. Now on to one of my favorite parts of the trailer, and that is when they first showed the Hummer towing this small bumper pull flatbed. Now, I think the reason why I got really excited when I saw this was because I realized they're really paying more attention to the smaller vehicles. And I know that a Hummer isn't really a smaller vehicle, but in the scope of this game, it is. And also, I wanted to kind of zoom in a little bit here to take a look at this little sign off in the distance that says Wolf Grip. I'm not sure what Wolf Grip is, but it's probably just an in-game business name. Like, think, for example, the businesses in American Truck Simulator. It's probably similar to that. Now, back to the deep mud situations. This is a mud and snow combination, which looked a little funky in the trailer, looked a little odd in the trailer, and I think in the still shot, it does look a bit strange, but the more I look at it in the still shot, the more I go, well, you know what? I mean, that's probably the best they could do in terms of, like, replicating mud and snow in a graphical setting, you know, in terms of where it doesn't look, you know, jagged. I mean, because I feel like some people are probably going to look at that shot and go, oh, that looks weird and jagged, and I feel like they've done so much that's, you know, it really does look good, but I feel like some people are still going to go, oh, that looks weird. I feel like, again, that's probably the best they could probably get it. But it's not the most stuck somebody got in this trailer. Ahem. Yeah, this Hummer is buried. And when I say it's buried, I mean it's freaking buried. It's up to not even up to the axles. It's past the axles. It's buried up to the freaking, like, the door. I mean, I almost said pinch weld, but to be fair, I mean, I feel like you would replace, in this sense anyway, you would replace pinch weld with rocker panel, but whatever. Like, in terms of describing where the snow or mud had come up to on the vehicle anyway, I mean, it is not getting out of there without the assistance of a winch or another truck. And speaking of winches, here we get another look at what winch usage looks like. And really, I mean, it just looks like a moderately updated version of the winch that we've seen in previous games. It doesn't really seem like they've gone, you know, over the top with winching at all. They just seem to have improved the capabilities of it through customization options. And I really feel like they didn't really have to do much with the winch, but the updates that they have made are nice. I had to laugh when I saw this shot of this international scout being kind of creeped up on by the bigger truck. I mean, and I get that he's there to help, but at the same time, I don't know, for some reason you can't help but laugh at it. It just looks like, it's just funny to me. I don't know if it's funny to y'all, but it's funny to me. Now, back again to the Hummer, I really want to spend some time really just saying how incredibly happy I am that we have setups like what you're seeing right now on screen in this game. I mean, you know, literally packages that are ratchet strapped down to a bumper pull trailer being pulled behind like a lighter duty vehicle. The fact that we have that, I mean, it just pushes this game to totally new levels and pushes it way farther than it's ever been pushed before, and it really pushes it out of the realm of just being a logging game. It really, really does. And at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, logging is cool, but it gets old after a while, and I think this stuff will really, really help give the vanilla game a lot more replayability. Also, here we see some of the objectives of one of the contracts. They're really, like, this one's not too crazy. These are pretty straightforward. Like, for example, it says deliver to the farm. Bricks, 0 out of 2. Wooden planks, 0 out of 2. And fuel, 0 out of 2. And he's definitely working on the fuel portion of this delivery right now. So, again, really, like, straightforward stuff, I think, in the beginning, but at the same time, the variety and load types will really add to the replayability and engagement. They also did mention that the center of gravity of the truck would be heavily affected by where you placed the load in the truck itself. So I know that they touched on that for trailers, and they wanted to make you really, really aware of that with the trailer situation. But with the trucks themselves, they hadn't really touched on it too much until this particular trailer. So that's definitely going to be something to watch out for, and definitely going to be something to make sure you stay on top of. Otherwise, it really could get you stuck. And finally, last but not least, I wanted to show you guys this shot from the end of the trailer of this Chevy just climbing up the side of a mountain. And if we look out there towards the left side of the screen, we see really, like, a gorgeous, gorgeous landscape. I mean, really, you're dealing with kind of like muddy marshland and sort of like autumn time trees. But I think that just goes to show not only the scope of this game that we're dealing with, but the verticality of this game that we're dealing with as well. I mean, the verticality is like a huge upgrade, and it's a huge deal for this game, and I think it's something that this series has been missing for a while. Now, let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts were about this trailer and what you were most excited about in terms of SnowRunner now that you've seen this updated raw gameplay trailer. And in terms of my breakdown, let me know what your favorite thing was that I highlighted, or if you thought there was something that should be highlighted that you thought that I missed. Let me know that in the comments section below as well. And if you enjoyed the video and would like to stay up to date on everything SnowRunner related, then make sure you click that subscribe button and turn those notifications on, and I will see you guys in the next one. Talk to y'all later, and I hope y'all enjoyed.